More circumstance invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the events I'm going to talk today will be Ethereum ETH. First, I want to say happy Monday, everybody. A great week so far, and a great weekend, by the way. Respect to recording time of 9:28 a.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum currently trading $4,727, up about 2.38% so far. On the overall crypto market, besides Solana and Polkadot and Shiba Inu, which are having some selling pressure at the moment, I would say it's more normalizing because like Solana and Shiba Inu have been surging relatively exponentially, for the last couple of days so far. So Shiba Inu is definitely something that is very normal. It's just normalizing, like we've been talking about, and being sustained by mainly retail or public investors at the moment. And Solana right now is down about 2.73%, with the all-time high that we've surged up to yesterday. And seems like it's normalizing right now. Some public or retail investors are taking profits slowly, right? And on the key coins, right, that are driven by, again, the main character, Elon Musk, in our topic of discussions the last couple of days so far, is that Bitcoin's currently leading up the effort on 3.45%, Ethereum up about 2.39%, Dogecoin up close to about 5%, right? On the poll or the voting system that he has put up on Twitter about like 24 hours ago, right? He's basically gaining guidance from his subscribers or his followers on his Twitter account on if he should be selling 10% of his Tesla holding at a worth of about $25 billion, right? And ever since that poll that released, there's been just speculations, there's been comments being spread around saying that, if he was to sell this $25 billion worth of Tesla stocks, would he be incentivized to maybe put this into buying Bitcoin or buying Ethereum or Dogecoin? And it seems like on the media affectation side, they are leaning towards Bitcoin. Again, it's a speculation. He did not say anything specifically saying that, oh yes, I'm going to be using this $25 billion to buy Bitcoin specifically. He never said that on anywhere. But speculations stir into rumor, and people are buying the rumor at the moment right now, which is the reason why for Bitcoin is surging all over again, trying to attempt to hit that all-time high of the $67,000, and Ethereum breaking all-time high very prominently, testing the $4,771 earlier today, while Dogecoin is also up right now quite prominently. So we have to see how that will triangulate going forward. With Tesla right now, we can see prominently that because of the confirmatory news, it is selling off right now, down about 6% right now, and I think this is very logical. It makes a lot of sense because we've been very stretched up already. You see this huge whale head, and also I think the whale is like opening the mouth. I think the whale is gonna stop eating and then gonna start like closing the mouth, and as we form that technically will be the death cross. And when we form the death cross, ideally we should technically break it down below to close to about $1,000. And if we break that, we do have a gap here that we ideally will come back to below around $900 if the technicals comes true. But we are still in the euphoria stage right now, and there are a lot of price target that's been released that technically Tesla is still undervalued based on Wall Street consensus at the moment. So that's something we have to think about. Is this a good time for us to incur risk right now? But based on the technical, I think we should have some more room to run down to close to 1,000, and then maybe buying that dip around that level is not a bad idea. But you want to definitely cool down because we are still relatively close to all-time high at the moment right now, right? So off topic a little bit, so let's go through the news again. So first one on Bitcoin, that's 32 minutes ago, talk about Ethereum breaks all-time high as gas fees plummets. This is something we've been seeing so far, right? We've been leaping for quite some time now, ever since the beginning of October or the end of September. We were at the $2,700, and then we've been leaping up ever since, up about $2,000 so far. So this is something that's just reminding us how much we've been leaping up so far. And next one's on TechCrunch about 2 hours ago, talk about Meta Labs. Scores a $50 million funding investments from Andreessen Horowitz or A16Z to bring zero knowledge rollup scaling to Ethereum. So this is something that is great. We see more venture investments into the value proposition of Ethereum, right? And that's something that we appreciate, despite it's still at the relatively early stage, because you talk about venture capital investing, that these companies are relatively still in the early stage of development. So nothing really, like solidify or mature yet. And there's still a lot more room for it to be improving upon. But there are a lot of money being, thrown into crypto, and specifically for Ethereum is something we appreciate for a long-term value proposition. More money to improve what has already been a very relatively substantive value proposition for Ethereum, but it's going to make it more solidified going forward. It's something that we definitely appreciate. And then the next one is talking about with respect to Decrypt 4 hours ago, and this is something that is just more a number throwing game. It says Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin leads crypto market cap to a record of $3 trillion. Though this is something that collectively you just add up the numbers of the three market cap for these three coins. This is some correlations to the Elon Musk post that he has put the last 24 hours ago, right? So we have reached to this level right now, so it's good to know, but this isn't really anything substantive. It's just more of a reminding news again, right? And then Bazinga 4 hours ago talk about Elon Musk's Twitter post, which it came true that he is going to be selling his holding, the 10% of Tesla stocks, at $25 billion. There's no confirmatory signal on if he's going to be using this $25 billion to be buying crypto or use it for something else. We don't know, right? He could be using this for funding for other Tesla related projects, or he could be using this for, I don't know, other stuff. Philanthropy, maybe he's donating, or we don't know, right? We have no signals nor confirmatory communication from him directly. It's just a lot of speculation so far, which is the reason why people are buying the rumor right now, up about 2.26%, and Bitcoin up about 3%, and Dogecoin up about 4% so far, right? And then the next one is again CNBC 4 hours ago talk. Ethereum hits all-time high. Bitcoin inches towards record again. Again, this is more reminding news, nothing substantive again. And then that's pretty much it overall. The remaining news on Bazinga, and then Market Watch, they are all reminding us that we are running to all-time high for Ethereum respectively. So let's just go through the technical real quick, because these news are really just like regurgitating, just doing this, talking about the same thing over and over again. So nothing really important that we need to that we don't already know, right? So right now, Ethereum is still leaping all-time high. We're at the 70 out of 70, so we know what that means. We've been relatively, struggling to be staying above the RSI of the 65 out of 70, and we've been leaping for quite some time now on the MACD, right? So it's great that we're surging, and it's great that we've been escalating, but it seems like we've been just up and away for quite some time without any signals of cooling down so far, right? And I think a correction is healthy for us to, re-incentivize the whales to come in again, because right now the buying pressure has mainly sustained by retail or public investors. So in terms of risk versus reward ratio, I don't know if that's the most logical for us to incur risk at the moment, because the whales ultimately have the largest market power. So if you were an investor in Ethereum at the moment, I'll just hold right now, right? There's no reason to add on risk exposure when the risk is already relatively high. So it's better to just use patience and wait for an opportune time, a correction that should technically be happening as we cool back down, right? And that will incentivize the whales to come in, and that will also replenish our momentum again, which is something we appreciate, for us to reach all-time high all over again, right? Right now is great. Do I suggest taking profit at the moment? I would say not really, because we're still we are overbought, but we're not extreme overbought. If we were at the 92 out of 70, yeah, definitely. But crypto is one of those animals that is really, really wild. It can be quite polarizing at the same time. So contingent on how the media affectation is going to pump the market, and contingent on how Bitcoin is going to be dragging us going forward, we'll see, right? And I think this is a typical buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectation from the Elon Musk post, right? Like if he is going to be posting that, yo, yeah, I sold my Tesla stocks, but I am going to use this to buy Bitcoin, it's going to completely change the course of momentum for, specifically for Bitcoin, obviously, but Ethereum and Dogecoin are all going to be affected, right? So something to be thinking about. I would say, would I be suggesting trimming right now because of the buy the rumor, sell the news affectation? It's up to your risk aversion. Ultimately, taking a profit is never a bad thing, right? And with respect to Bitcoin, I think right now we're covering up because of the positive news, right? And the momentum is slowly shifting upward. So as we form this cross section, this will be a golden cross. And as we form this golden cross, it will technically means that Bitcoin is going to reach all-time high over again. And with the 64 out of 70, so not a bad idea right now. But I would totally just wait and wait for a more opportune time because we are still running hot, right? I don't really suggest when the technicals are screaming overbought at all levels, right? So I think the best logical decisions to do right now is to hold and hold for a long term until Bitcoin reach much higher levels from here, right? And with respect to Dogecoin, you could see that prominently we were close to about 30 cents today. And right now we're still in a bullish sentiment because of the drag effects from the overall market with the 56 out of 70. So not a bad setup right now, but not the best setup for buying either. It's not the most favorable. So I think ideally wait for it to normalize a little bit, come back down to 25 to the 20 cents would be much more logical from here. Cardano is being dragged up right now because of the overall market again, right? But it's not like prominently up right now because it's nothing really affecting directly on Cardano with the 46 out of 70. So I think we're on the verge of a surge for Cardano. So I think the setup out of all of them, I think Cardano is the most favorable in terms of the upside potential from here. Solana's down about 3% right now. We are forming a curvature down. We are still at the 65 out of 70. So ideally, cooling back down, right? We have a gap to form that coming back to test ideally around like the 200. Ideally to the, as we deplete, you will definitely test some consolidation at the 154. Ideally 130. But I think I wouldn't touch it until we get to the 113. We do have some consolidation, but these are relatively premature. So I think more substantively would be 113 to 93 to 66 from here. XRP right now up about 3%. We are still leaping up. The momentum is still strong, so we're gonna leap up. And we could see that we were at the 130 today, which is the level that we try to get to. We got there, and immediately people sold off because that's a logical flat number for people to sell off to. And attempting to break above 130, right? But it's relatively hard to stretch that because we have a large gap. It's either we go 130 and then go straight to 141, which is the technical all-time high, but the momentum is not strong enough for us to get there, so ideally coming back down slowly. And so basically, it's either 130, 120, or 110. So I probably wait until we cool back down to ideally we'll go back to 120, or between 110 respectively for us to dollar cost average further. Polkadot right now is forming a curvature down because of the surge we got to an all-time high at the 5509. So ideally coming back down to a 42, ideally buying at the somewhere around like the 30 to the 25 would be much more logical. Algorand is up about 6% right now because of the you can see that we have formed a small golden cross. And we've been kind of percolating on a sideways fashion. So today is just a technical coming true, attempting to reach to the $2, but we see how likely that is. We couldn't. You could see that we tried this once, we tried this twice, we tried this 3 times, we tried this multiple times in the past. So $2 seems like a real hard level to crack through. So I would not suggest buying now. But in the previous days was probably a much more logical level because 182 to like to try to get to above $2 was the logical move. But ideally, because of the fact that there's a lack of substance, I think 160 to 150 would be much more logical if you were to incur some more conservative risk. Shiba Inu is still selling off, and there's no momentum of reversing yet. This was mainly driven by public investors. So right now at the 55 of 70, so I think ideally selling back down to the 2807 to the 900 respectively would be much more logical from here. And with respect to risk management level, the dollar cost average, as we deplete back to below 35 on the RSI scale, and as we deplete back to a preliminary golden cross, these are the levels that I've identified here that are more risk averse for myself, more conservatively for me to incur risks. Again, this is my personal preference. I do have a relatively sizable holding for Bitcoin, Ethereum already. So it's more about long-term gains than any short-term type of swing trade, if you may. So with respect to the market cycle, we're still running relatively hot. So as we oscillate, we're going to come back onto more of a normalized level, more of a depleted level later in the future. So it's just about a matter of time when we circulate the monetary value in the market. So it's no reason for us to feel FOMO because, I think the best solutions right now is just hold and not incur additional risk. I think holding is the best solutions at the moment right now if you were to think about doing something. Sometimes it's better to do nothing than to do something. I know that we have that mentality of like managing, like you have to be doing something tactically, but that's not really the case. I think tactically to control yourself mentally and logically will be the best solutions for at the current level right now. So hopefully this is helpful on this Monday morning or Monday night, depending on where you are. Really appreciate you for joining me today, and stay tuned for some come up. Take care.